Well, everybody, this is going to be an amazing conversation. I'm so excited because we have two amazing chiropractor at Chiro Author Insights. We have Doctors Marty Rosen and Nancy Watson. Welcome, both of you. It's exciting to see you both here together.
Great to see you, Marcus.
Yes, thank you.
We're going to have a wonderful conversation about some really important literature. But before we do, those not familiar with these epic chiropractors changing the world, Doctors Rosen and Watson met in 1978 in chiropractic school, so beautiful, and spent the rest of their lives dedicated to each other, their family, and the profession. And that is a very humbling reminder for all that we can do in serving the chiropractic. They combined 80 years of personal and clinical experience and teaching experience in delivering the chiropractic adjustment is unparalleled in the chiropractic profession. The international outreach through teaching, writing, and lecturing has been the driving force in their personal and professional careers and has been a game changer for so many chiropractors, elevating their practice experience, their professional growth, and their impact in chiropractic and through the chiropractic adjustment. They've raised two amazing daughters, ran successful, family-oriented, lifetime care chiropractic practices, and taught tens of thousands of chiropractors and chiropractic students, taking care of 3 generations of families, and developed one of the most comprehensive and prestigious chiropractic pediatric evaluating and adjusting programs in the profession. And amongst all of that, they've authored not only the Pediatric Chiropractic Care Second Edition textbook, but also most recently, I haven't got mine, it's in the mail because US sending to Australia is almost impossible. And I know you've got a copy of this. It's all in your head, which is an incredible way of reaching out to the public as an expression of your commitment and service to our community, to humanity, to families throughout the world. This book is amazing. I want to talk so much about this. So thank you so much for all you've done. Thank you for joining us on this, this conversation about your book and about chiropractic. Let's start with, tell us about the book. It's all in your head.
Well, you talk. I'll start. So this is a book that I've been wanting to write for a long time. And thank God for COVID because it locked us down and we couldn't travel and we had the time to write it. But it really came from last time that Marty and I were teaching in Texas, which was in 2019. And we had forgot our baby doll that we used as a demonstration. So we went out to a toy store and I was appalled at what babies look like, the dolls look like. So they were distorted, their faces were distorted. A lot of them were an extension or flexion. And so what I discovered, obviously the toy industry follows what is common. And so they're creating these baby dolls that they look like they think that babies should look like. Well, our baby dolls that we have are soft and snuggly, and that's not what I wanted to buy. So we didn't. So I said to Marty, I said, as a mother myself, a book that I would have wanted to read was the difference between what is common and what is normal. So we had the time last winter when we weren't traveling and we were kind of locked down, and we just dedicated a part of every day to write this book to help parents understand that just because something is common doesn't mean that it's normal. So that was kind of the goal behind this book, a book that I would have liked to have read if I was a new mom or pregnant or thinking about having children.
And for me, I have a difficult time sometimes communicating what's in my heart to people because I'm so used to doing technical writing, like writing technique books, teaching technique seminars. And so I actually wanted to do this, and Nancy kind of had the impetus behind me, and I started to write it, and we gave it to a couple of friends, and they looked at me and went, "What is this?" I said, "Who's going to understand this? Who's going to read this? This is horrible. This is like a textbook." And I went, "That's all I can do." So we decided, so I know Nancy has a very different way of looking at the world, as most women and men do. So we kind of sat down, and I was honestly a little nervous because I've been told I don't play so well with others sometimes. And it was just brilliant. It was brilliant the way that she was able to take what was in our heart and our passion and to express it in a way that parents can understand, because what we really feel is important is, it's great being a great chiropractor. It's amazing being able to help these kids. It's amazing to see case studies. But really, we need to get the general public to understand really what we do. So it's not just about common versus normal, which is a big part. It's about human potential. And it's about that first year of life. Like, people really can't get how important it is to get the child's nervous system checked, subluxations reduced or removed in their first year of life, so they don't become permanent patterns. And we've talked about it for years, we've taught it for years, and we know people have hard times, expressing it to their patients as well. So it was time. People have asked us during our seminars, there was this, what's your report of findings like? How do you get people to follow through? How do you get them to stop, continue care once the colic is gone or the ear infection's gone or whatever the heck people bring people in? And I thought about it, and I thought about what my report of findings was like. And I thought that really the best way to communicate is to give something to people to read so they can basically own it themselves. And so that's what this book is about. It's about, it's great for chiropractors to take because it does have some clinical stuff in it. But the idea that we had when we put it together was for them to be able to give it to their patients, is really what we wanted it for. This is why we do what we do. I've studied marketing, and I think one of the most brilliant marketers when it comes to healthcare has been Upledger, in that, everybody does we do a lot of cranial work. And we know a lot of people do cranial work, and everybody thinks it's cranial sacral therapy. And we have to spend half our time explaining that cranial sacral therapy is just a different type of approach. That chiropractic cranial adjusting is an art and a form into itself. So I think that was the other reason to write the book, trying to kind of coin the term, instead of CST, maybe CCA, chiropractic cranial adjusting, to save people the idea that understanding what we're doing is not the same thing. Just like being an osteopath is not the same thing as being a chiropractor. So I think those were the, my three purposes were that, to give people an idea what common versus normal was, to help chiropractors tell the story, and to give people a chance to digest and basically own the process. So when they're coming in, they really know why they're coming in. They know it's not the colic, or it's not the flagiocephaly, or whatever it is. It's about human potential in that first year of life.
And the foundations of the nervous system, and hitting those milestones because they're there for a reason. So and missing them. So we cover all that in this book. So
yeah.
And what I'm hearing, which I think is so important, is one, it's a great introduction to patients coming into the practice of what chiropractic is, the role of chiropractic in the nervous system, an understanding of, as you said, common versus normal, and really giving them that paradigm shift. And that's really important because it helps their journey into the practice, through the practice. But equally, it gives the chiropractor, as they make this book available to their patients in the practice, a common language, a common understanding. And the practitioner themselves are reminded of these immutable principles. And by having the book, and I'm not saying that every chiropractor doesn't love to read textbooks, although they should. Not every chiropractor wants to read textbooks.
Right.
So
this is a lot friendlier.
This is the friendly version, if you like, of the principles they need to know and understand in that first year of care. So it actually adds value to their own conversational dialogue with the patient, and then performs part of a framework for how they deliver the care. Would that be a fair assessment?
Yeah, it would be. And it's funny because I just had that experience today. So, we talked about communication and what people understand. So we had this patient who came back in. How old is she now, Bella?
She's a teenager.
She's a teenager. Maybe she's 13. She came in with her mom when she was like 12 or 13 months old, with a whole host of symptoms. She couldn't sleep. She had colic. She had Mr. Mouse on. She didn't crawl. It was just a whole kind of hellstorm for the family. And we took care of her for probably about 8 months or so. She got better. All her symptoms went away, and they just kind of dropped out of care. And we got a call last week that she wants to come back in. Bella's now 13, and she has some more issues, of course, because she never got completely on, she has scoliosis, and she had some seizure stuff. So I did the report of findings today to the mom. And I said, when I want to see her, I said, we're going to put her under intensive care and then some reconstructive care. And then I would really like you to think about getting her under maintenance care. She should have been under care. She goes, I don't think you ever told me to keep coming in. And I looked at her and I said, there's not a person that I take care of that I don't suggest to keep coming to He goes, I must have missed that. So it literally was a 12-year hiatus. And what I saw was the repercussions of, we took care of the child's symptomatology, but we weren't able to basically optimize our nervous system. And as the years went on, whatever that primary subluxation was that wasn't completely resolved started to show itself and manifest in other ways. And now, hopefully, the mom's got it. I don't know, but but you think that you're clear, we think we're making, and I think it's so much easier if you can hand somebody like, here, read this, this is what we're talking about. Understand this. So anyhow, but I was kind of shocked when she said that to me. She goes, I don't think you ever told me to come back. I'm like, I don't think I ever not told anybody not to come. Well, I can think of 1 or 2 patients I might have told not to come back, but
Not children.
but not kids, and that's a whole different story. But so again, the ideology behind this and educating your patients, I think it's much more helpful when they have internalized the process. It's supposed to just hear what you have to say.
And we would like to change the language in our profession as well. So for those people that, we do talk about cranial distortions, like 2 of the chapters deal with cranial distortions and why we see this in these baby dolls, that they're distorted. So I like the idea that would push our profession also to increase our skill level. So I think cranial adjusting is a crucial part of our profession. It's 80% of the nervous system is in the cranium. So it's a twofold thing. So if parents reading this going, oh, I would like my child to have this, he's going to seek out the chiropractors that know this technique. And we encourage people to continue studying their art and not to limit it to just the spine. That's our philosophy.
That's beautiful. And
So
obviously, you've written this to create this message, to shift the paradigm and to share your wisdom with the community, not only the profession. What type of a response do we get from your patients, the community members? There's some incredible reviews up there on Amazon highlighting how impactful this book is. But I'd love you to share just some of the personal stories with what people have said when they've read it, the experiences that are happening, and what that means to you.
Well, one of the ones that really stood out for me was a patient of ours who's an older woman who has grandchildren, took it for her grandchildren. Her husband, he's a clinical psychologist, and he saw it when he came home, he read it. And he said, unbeknownst to us now, he's not a patient. I've never met the man in my life. He asked to write a review, and it was an amazing review. And he thought that this book was monumental, that every parent should read it. This is a clinical psychologist, not under chiropractic care, and he kind of raved about it. And I was really impressed. And, his wife's a very, very sweet lady. Excuse me. And I think for me, something, an unsolicited acknowledgement like that from another professional, I thought that was pretty amazing for me. All our patients say, oh, it's great, but then they're also going to lie down on the table and I'm going to adjust them. So I doubt if they'd say it was horrible at the same time.
Yeah, I would say a number of the chiropractors who have read it have bought it in bulk to have it in their office in their waiting rooms to give it out for that very reason. They feel like it explains what we do in our offices, and it will help them, better educate their patients. But it was another elderly woman that spoke to me, same thing. She's a grandmother. She has 3 beautiful grandchildren. And she just said, I just never knew this stuff. I wish I had known it when my children were younger. And she's just so excited that she can give this opportunity for her grandchildren. So it reaches across all.
I think that's, we've gotten great reviews from chiropractors that we know, and it's great to get acknowledged by a profession. Obviously that is something that's, really important as well. But I think Nancy's right. It's the idea behind the book is to get the word out. So when we hear people who are not in our inner circle, or we haven't touched, their lives specifically by teaching them whatever it is, they're already, as people call them, our tribe. To hear people outside of your tribe acknowledge the work, I think that for me makes the biggest difference, because I've come to have a certain level of expectation that the work we do gets acknowledged, as at least passing at the very least. So people usually say that the work we do is good. So that makes a big difference. I think that makes it. And if they feel it's an impact, and seeing grandparents buy it for their grandchildren, that's great. And so having the grandchildren come in, and of course then they have to convince their daughters or sons,
and there's going to be another spinoff of this. We do have a woman who runs I'm not sure what you would call it. It's a specialty thing where she takes care of newborns and their mothers. So they actually go in the house and spend like 2 or 3 weeks helping the mother take care of a newborn. And she's approached us to do a program for this particular crowd of practitioners. So it's outside of our profession. We
Right.
certainly won't be teaching them technique, but we will certainly teach them the nervous system and how important those first few years of life are and how the nervous system grows. And so we think that will be something that will spin off this winter when we won't be traveling again probably. And we'll be writing a whole program for this population of people that deal with not only the pregnant mother, but the mother of a newborn, and just what a special
Yeah.
time that is. And we would like to reach those people.
Yeah, they're a postpartum, I call it a postpartum support company.
Right. It's a whole new
They
thing.
support the mom, they support the baby, they have lactation consultants, they have midwives, they have doulas, they have early intervention people. So it's a whole group of people that are available to help support if that. And she had
Yeah.
found the book and
Well,
read it.
yes,
and-
the CEO of that company approached us because she says, I see these babies under distress. I know they're not supposed to look like this, distorted. And she goes, your book, your book told me that. She says, but I don't know how to communicate this with. So we're going to create up a program for these people and have it out there. So another spinoff from the book, again, unsolicited. She found the book. It spoke to her. She sees babies. She knows there's a problem, but how do you communicate that and get these people under care? That will be the next project.
And I think the best part for that, and one of the things she said, which stuck out, she goes, I see this, I don't know what to do about it. Now you do. That's the other thing. Like, where do you go? Like, so the kid missed his milestone. The kid has hypersensitive reflex or retained primary reflexes, or they're whatever it is, or they're not latching, and they've done nursing and they've done everything they could within their paradigm. But where do we go next? They didn't have a next step. So the book will give them a next
Right.
step, hopefully a first step. That's the other thing and we've all talked about it as chiropractors, and we all really always want people to bring their, people go, when can I bring my child? And I said, whenever you're ready, on the way home from the hospital, if it is, or a home birth, it's like, we want people to understand that kids need to get checked regardless. And I think we do talk about that in the book. We talk about, there may be problems, there may be common issues, or there may be things that look abnormal, but it's also important to get your child checked before the symptomatology arises. And I think that's something that, it's kind of the dental profession years ago, at least in the United States, became very brilliant because they had such a small market share at one point that what they decided to do is to market to people to get your teeth checked. Like, come in regularly for your checkup. And that was a way, and that increased their market share at almost 50%. So can you imagine if chiropractic had 50% of the, right, exactly, you and I would, boom, right? It depends what you read. We went to chiropractic school and it was like 7%. They always check, it's like if we hit 11%, that's a tipping point. We've never come close, especially in the world. In the United States, we have a fairly good percentage, and maybe in Australia, but if you take the world percentage of people under chiropractic care, I would bet it's 3% at best. If we could, if we up that, if 50% of the people when they were born decide, oh, okay, now it's time to take the kid to the chiropractor and we should check, have them checked every whatever X amount of times, forget it. Our profession would just blow up.
We would like that.
We would love to see that, but we've been doing it for 39 years. I haven't seen it yet. But we keep trying.
We're working on it.
Well, writing a book is the first step. Well, not the first. What you've already been doing is the first and the second and the 10th steps of what you're doing. But here is another step: is writing a book, getting the message into the community, making sure that, again, as you said, there's a spin-off of opportunities to serve the message again in different avenues with different people. I think it's such not only an incredible book because of the message that it has, but the ability for it to reach across in the profession to the community. And that's why writing, and I was so excited for this book because you're writing into the community instead of into the profession. And that serves not only the profession, but it serves humanity. And so I'm excited can't wait for my copy of this book to come from these COVID restricted international.
I know, we'll have to smuggle a book to Australia. How bad is it when you have to smuggle books from one country to another?
Yeah, well, we won't go down that.
I'm thinking of calling like Pfizer or Moderna and see if they can make a COVID-free cover that we can put on top of it, and therefore we can send it around the world with our COVID-free covers. I know.
Sorry.
No, that's great. And, I'm so excited for this book. I know the profession needs it. I know humanity needs it. Our parents, our kids. It's an incredible gift. And so I'm grateful to you. I'm so excited. And if there are any closing words you have to, you know, the chiros out there watching this, I'd love to wrap up with your
Well, I
message.
appreciate you
We-
inviting us on
right.
and helping us share the story.
We do, and if you want to order it, you know, the website to get it from, it's allintheheadbook.com. Simple enough to remember. If you remember the book, it's all in the head. We can do that. And for those chiropractors who are listening, if they do want to learn from us, we run the Peak Potential Institute, which runs programs, both hands-on and online programs for chiropractors only, technique seminars mostly. And so that is our peakpotentialprogram.com. You can check us out there. We'd love to connect with you. We've been doing a lot of online work because of the, you know, the situation in the world right now, and kind of getting used to it. I'd like to do some hands-on and miss it a little bit. Yeah, but we do miss, you know, we do miss the traveling, and
We miss the
we're hoping
connection.
that we miss the connection. That's really what we miss. But we appreciate all the work you do, Marcus. I know, and your philosophy conference is going, right? Isn't that open right now?
Yeah, that's philosophy,
Yeah.
clinical applications of chiropractic philosophy. It's
Yeah.
going.
That's
great.
awesome.
Love it. Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it's
awesome.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so we do appreciate, we have nodded you. I know how much work you do. I see it and follow some of that. And both of us, you and us, will keep going as long as we can.
Absolutely. We've got a job to do, everyone. Grab the book. Those details will be below. You know, let's learn from the experts. Let's learn from the masters.
Right.
We've got a job to do.
Thank you.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you
Awesome.
so much, Marcus.
Thank you, Marcus.